This is Justin Williams again. You know, um, I'm here today to talk about I'm here to talk about what I'm talk about. Uh, just about random stuff. You know, this about Fist of the North Star. I love Fist of the North Star. It's a good. I watched the film. I watched the real movie. It was a good film. It was a good movie, man. It was a good movie. You know, Rakesh Sharo. That's one of my favorite cartoons. I love Fist of the North Star. Even though I never watched it when I was a child, that's one of my favorite cartoons. And Dragon Ball Z. I like them. But let's talk about Batman the animated series. That's one of my favorites when I was little as well. You know, that's one of my favorites also. I'm glad to be. I was born in 1987, but watched cartoons back in the 90s. The cartoons I would have missed in the 90s was Batman the animated series, Animaniacs, Historia, um, Pinky and the Brain, um, Captain. What's the guy's name? He has the green hair, but his whole face. Yeah, Captain Planet. I miss Captain Planet. That's one of my favorites. I love what's that show called? Cat Dog. I like Cat Dog. I like Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold. I like that. Doug. It's a host of others that I can't think of right now. Oh, I miss the old Sesame Street. I miss the old Sesame Street. I used to watch that when I was a kid growing up in the 90s. I gotta speak up real louder. I gotta speak up real louder than this. I miss Street Fighter. I miss Street Fighter, the game, the old games back in the day. I used to play them all the time when we were little. We used to play like the Sega Genesis. I miss the Sega Genesis, man. I missed it so much for the passion. It was the game to play every day when you come home in the 90s. When you was a kid, you used to play Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, I couldn't even beat Sonic the Hedgehog. I couldn't really beat number two that well, but I beat the first one and the third one. I think number two I beat the first, but I never beat it much anymore because the game was too hard. I couldn't beat the stages, the stage where you get all the emeralds. I couldn't beat that on Sonic 2 at all. But Sonic 1 and Sonic 3, I know how to do that. Um, but Sonic 2 emeralds, you trying to get the emeralds, it be too hard, especially the last stage where he had to kill Dr. Robotnik, where he was wearing a different robot suit on Sonic 2. It was so hard, to beat at that time. It's still hard for me to this day. So I love Sonic 1 and Sonic 3 a whole lot better. Sonic 2 was alright, but it was a little bit too harder for me. But I love Sonic and Knuckles. I love that game, even though I couldn't get the emeralds on that one. I think I got a lot of emeralds in that game. Yes, I have. I like Sonic and Knuckles. That was a good game. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where you had to put the Sonic 2 game thing on the Knuckles cartridge. You had to play Sonic. Then you can play either one, Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. That's what I like. That's what I liked about the 90s back in the day. I love Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic 3 and Knuckles was tight. Well, you can play Sonic 2 and Knuckles. You can play that, but Sonic 1 and Knuckles, you couldn't do that. The only way you can do it, you got to get a code to get Knuckles in Sonic 1. You couldn't get Tails either. So Tails wasn't in the game. The only person who was in that game was Sonic. That was it. Sonic the Hedgehog 1, the only game was Sonic. So the only way you get Knuckles, you gotta get the code. You can play Blue Knuckles. Cause I seen a walkthrough of the game where you had to play like the Blue Knuckles in the game. I watched one of the videos before. But Sonic 1, you had Sonic only. You didn't have Tails, Knuckles, or any other character that was out there. Uh, Sonic 2, you had Sonic and Tails. And Sonic 3, you had Sonic and Tails and Knuckles because you had to put the Sonic cartridge in on the Sonic and Knuckles game to get that. But you had Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. In Sonic and Knuckles, you just had Sonic and Knuckles. Um, I love all three of those games. I had memories playing them when I was a child. Um, you had a Sega adapter. I love that. That was off the chain. That was like off the chain. That's one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite adapters of all time. You can play any Sonic game you want. Any Sonic game, like the Streets of Rage, Nightmare Circles, Toe Jam and Earl, um, Streets of Rage, Batman and Robin, the animated series game. You can play anything from A to Z from the Sega adapter. I miss the Sega adapter. I wish they could have it back, but now you can't because you got a PlayStation now where you can bring all the old games back in one console, one game console. So I love the old games back in the day, the old cartoons. I miss the '90s days, man. I really do. But you have these PlayStation games now. You got PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 now, where they make games, out of movies now, which is for the new generation. I miss PlayStation 2 too. I miss Xbox and all that. I miss all those games where you can come home and play every day, just like MySpace. You can come on in again every day. I couldn't even get into MySpace. I was trying to get in there, but I couldn't. So the only thing that I have is Facebook. Facebook is more easy to get on because it's free, but it's a lot. It's too much drama now on Facebook. Now you got this social media stuff like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram now, where people love to start drama and stuff. I'm not like that person. But I got a YouTube channel to express how I feel about life in general because it's not the same anymore. Everybody else doing the same thing over and over again. Everybody wearing. Yeah, I seen guys every day wearing skinny jeans and stuff, which is bad. Which look like you gay. You follow what I'm saying? But I miss that. I'm a baggy jeans type, so I'm not really a skinny jeans type. I'm just a baggy jeans type. I'm old school. I'm old school. But I miss the Sega Genesis, the Nintendo. I miss the Super Mario days. I miss that. But nowadays, everything is technology wise now. So technology move on to the next and the next. So the only thing I like about technology is that you can talk to people around the world that you don't even know. That's why I got YouTube, so I can talk to people sometimes that I don't even know. I hope that I don't get killed or get hurt on YouTube. You gotta watch what you do and you gotta watch what you say on here because you gotta walk on eggshell with people in this day and time, man, every day. But I was born in 1987. I was born, May 6, 1987. Taurus the Bull. That's my zodiac sign. I'm gonna talk about compatibility status on my next vid. So, but this is Justin Williams. Feel 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 free to rate, comment, and subscribe, and add me on Facebook, and tell me the way that what you missed in the '90s, what you missed in the '80s. If you grew up in the '80s, tell me what you missed. If you grew up in the '90s, tell me what you missed. Because when I was a child, I had fun. I used to go outside and play all the time. Play football with my old friends in Clarksdale. I miss like all of that now because I'm 28 years old now. I can't do what I want to do anymore. So, but go to school and come home and struggle. That's all you do. In the '90s, it wasn't like that. You had the freedom, the structure, all of that. I was born in May 6, 1987. So I spent my life as a kid in the '90s. You know, I missed the '90s. I missed the early 2000s as well, where you had some good cartoons back in the early 2000s, like Dexter, uh, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo came out in the '90s, but I'm talking about Courage the Cowardly Dog, uh, Dexter, whatever. They came in the early 2000s. I miss Rap City. I missed that. That was back in the early 2000s and late 90s. In the 90s, when Tigger ran, like Big Tigger ran in the early 2000s, man, it was crazy in the basement. You follow what I'm saying? Everybody was rapping, boy, like it was nothing. But I miss the Rap City back in the early 2000s. I miss everything that I did in the early 2000s because it was a structure for me, but now it's not anymore. It's more technology based now. I wish that, everything would stay unique. Everything stay unique and style. Especially the hip hop game, it's not art formed anymore. Everybody rapping about the same thing all the time. Everybody from New York, everybody from the East Coast to the West Coast sound like the South now. I'm not talking about the Midwest. They've been sounding like the South for years. They had those down South beats for years. So like Twister, Bone Thugs, and Harmony, they had their down South beat for years. Like Tech Nine, they've been doing that for years. Because the Midwest is a lot of mixture, between down South, East Coast, and West Coast music. They got that mixture. But I'm talking about the East Coast and the West Coast. They sound like the South now. Just about everybody, the East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, they sound like the South now. They sound the same like every day. So, I wish that every rapper would have their unique style and everybody on television would have their unique style. Everybody watching these reality shows like Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of New York, Los Angeles, Orange County. They hooked to that now. I don't even watch any of that at all. It sucks. But this is Justin Williams. Please free to rate, comment, and subscribe, and add me on Facebook. Peace.